This is going to be a beginner-friendly and casual-friendly guide to Arcane Mage in The War Within Season 3. Apologies for my lisp at the moment. If you're not new here, you'll realise I don't normally sound like this. I've just had jaw surgery to remove a tumour in my face. But hey, you know, the show don't stop or whatever, so I must get these videos out. If you want to hear the full story, there's a I'll put it in the pinned comment with my GoFundMe in case anyone is interested. It's quite traumatic. But yes, anyway, just get that out of the way so you know why I sound like this. On the left is our top priority, and on the right here is our bottom priority. These are going to be added in for AoE. The AoE rotation will change a tiny bit, but that's it. So Arcane Mage is one of the most complex rotations there is. I have dumbed it down a little bit for beginners so you can still enjoy it and do the correct rotation, but without having a lot of the stress involved. So our number one priority is shifting power, but we're only going to use this after we've used our 3 main cooldowns. Why? Because shifting power actually reduces the cooldown on our cooldown. Meaning that when we've used our Evocation, our Arcane Surge, and Touch the Magi, we can use shifting power and it will reduce their cooldowns. But so when that happens, it's your number one priority. So, Evocation then. Basically, it massively increases your mana regen and grants clear casting. What is clear casting? Clear casting is a buff that is needed to cast arcane missiles. The other cool thing about Evocation is your intellect is increased by 2% every half a second, and it lasts 20 seconds. So I'm going to fully channel my Evocation. Then, once we do that, we want to use our arcane missiles. And that is going to give us a new buff called Never Precision, which is here. Arcane Blast and Arcane Barrage damage is increased by 30%. So this is Arcane Barrage. When we use Arcane Missiles, we get Never Precision, and that comes from this talent up here. Consuming Clear Casting with our Arcane Missiles increases the damage of our next 2 Arcane Blasts or Arcane Barrages by 30%. So before we then use that Never Precision buff on our Arcane Barrage, we want to use our Arcane Surge cooldown. Expend all of your mana to annihilate your enemy target and nearby enemies for arcane damage based on mana spent. Deals reduced damage beyond 5 targets, and this will also generate clear casting. For the next 15 seconds, your mana regeneration is massively increased, and so is spell damage. So basically, you get the intellect from Evocation, you get the Never Precision buff from Arcane Missiles, you get the spell damage increase from Arcane Surge, and then we use our super duper Arcane Barrage. Now, one thing about Arcane Barrage that's interesting, when I use it, can you see it takes a second to get to the target? I'm launching it at the target and it takes like half a second. While it is traveling to your target, you really quickly want to use Touch of the Magi. Now that is because Arcane Barrage, so you can see here I've got 4 arcane charges. Arcane Barrage it uses those 4 arcane charges. And then when we use Touch of the Magi, it will generate 4 arcane charges again. So we're going maxed out again on arcane charges, which are these here. Applies Touch of the Magi to your current target, accumulating some of the damage you deal to the target for 12 seconds, and then explodes for that amount to the target and nearby enemies. Meaning, obviously we've got Intellect from Evocation, our Never Precision, and our buffs from Arcane Surge. We then do an insane amount of damage, including Touch of the Magi, and therefore all of that huge amount of damage is going to explode onto the target shortly. So let's look at this in practice. We use Evocation and channel it fully, getting our intellect up. We then use Arcane Missiles, giving us Never Precision. We then use Arcane Surge, and then we go Arcane Barrage and Touch the Magi before it hits. Then we're going to use Arcane Missiles again, because basically we need more Never Precision. And then we're just going to use Arcane Barrage. Now at this point, we don't have any arcane charges. So I'm going to use Arcane Orb, which is going to throw a big orb and generate some arcane charges. And then I would use your Arcane Barrage again. And that is basically all we are going to do. Now we've got these on cooldown, look, we can use our number one priority, Shifting Power, and look at the cooldown coming down. See, as I channel Shifting Power, the cooldowns come off cooldown. Now, Arcane Surge and Evocation are both on 1.5 minutes. Touch of the Magi is on 45 seconds, meaning for every 2 Touch of the Magi, you can use 1 Arcane Surge and Evocation. This means you have like a mini burst and a burst. Your full burst is Evocation, Surge, Touch the Magi. Your mini burst is just Touch the Magi. Right now, I have 4 Arcane Charges. I'm going to spend it on Arcane Barrage. And I'm going to throw my Orb to get more Arcane Charges back. And then I'm going to use Arcane Barrage to spend them. And now we're back to our full burst. So Evocation, channel that. Arcane Missiles, Arcane Surge, and then boom, boom, and then boom again to spend those charges. Arcane Missiles, throw my Orb to get my charges back, and I'm using my Arcane Missiles to get more Never Precision charges to do even more damage with our Arcane Barrage. Sometimes you'll get free Arcane charges when you use Arcane Barrage, so you can just keep using it. Make sure to use Never Precision whenever you've got Arcane Missiles to make your Arcane Barrage do even more damage. And that's pretty much the single target rotation. To change to AoE, all we're really going to do is add on Arcane Explosion at the end if you need Arcane Charges, because Arcane Explosion will generate Arcane Charges to multiple targets nearby. And in single target, I want you to use Arcane Blast. So Arcane Explosion to generate Arcane Charges if you've got nothing else to press. In single target, Arcane Blast in single target, Arcane Explosion in AoE. And there you go. That is the rotation for playing Arcane Mage. It's a bit complex. Hopefully I explained it well without too much of a lisp. I think I'm actually getting better at talking the more I film. So being a YouTuber is really great if you just had jaw surgery, FYI. Don't forget to use your Arcane Intellect, which will increase your everyone's intellect for an hour. You've also got Ice Cold, which is a great defensive cooldown. What I would recommend is looking through all these other spells that aren't in the rotation, like your defensive, etc., and all of the talents to see how it all comes together, only once you are ready and comfortable with your rotation. You could also use a single button assistant to help you visualize the rotation and help you understand it a bit better while you're getting used to it and learning it. But yeah, you've got Time Warp, which is Bloodlust. It's the biggest cooldown in the game. Use this when your group or raid leader tells you to. Mirror Image, your damage is reduced while these mirror images are out. We've got Mass Barrier, which will cast Prismatic Barrier on you and 4 nearby allies. What is Prismatic Barrier? Well, basically it shields you, absorbing damage and reducing magical damage taken for a while. Greater Invisibility is another defensive we've got where you can reduce damage taken. Shimmer, you can basically teleport forward, which is great, but do be careful with it. And Counterspell, especially in Mythic Plus, is really useful. This is your Interrupt. And I want you to use this as much as physically possible. In Mythic Plus, in open world, getting used to interrupting your enemy spellcasting is really, really, really important. And that is pretty much it, guys. If you're looking for other specs or classes and how to play them, check out the playlist you now see on screen, and don't forget to subscribe.